Hey movie fanatics, welcome to Cinematic Crandall, another TIFF19 review for you, taking a look at Taika Waititi's JOJO Rabbit. It is a touching coming-of-age story that takes place near the end of World War II. A lot of controversy is sure to follow this movie because it is an anti-hate satire that doubles as a wacky feel-good comedy, and its main character, Jojo Betzla, is a 10-year-old Nazi whose imaginary best friend is Adolf Hitler. Not exactly the main ingredients for a feel-good, life-affirming movie, but somehow, if the thought of this movie alone doesn't trigger you and you can just go in and enjoy the story as presented, Taika Waititi has made one of the best movies of 2019, walking a tightrope of tones and featuring two dynamic young breakout stars. Jojo Rabbit is part Charlie Chaplin, part Mel Brooks, all heart, all Taika Waititi, and I absolutely loved it. Jojo is played by Roman Griffin Davis, and he's a 10-year-old Nazi who's really excited that he's going to a Hitler Youth Camp getaway for the weekend. Like the hilarious young Yorkie, his best friend, who is a soldier, but he's just a portly 10-year-old boy who's as sweet as anything. And you just see him in his uniform and you start to laugh. And him and Jojo have a great rapport together. But being indoctrinated with hate since such a young age, Jojo is blindly following the Nazi regime and loves being a Nazi. So his whole world is kind of rocked when he encounters Elsa, played by the fantastic Thomasin McKenzie, as a young Jewish girl, because up until this point, he only knows the Jews from the horrendous propaganda that he's been exposed to, and he slowly starts to realize he may have been misinformed. And this film walks a very fine line between satire and silliness. Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, and Alfie Allen are hilariously over the top. They feel like they've just stepped out of a Mel Brooks movie, and they will make you laugh your head off every time they show up. Stephen Merchant also gets some really funny moments. So there's a lot of great broad comedy. If you can go with that broad comedy, you're going to have a good time, because 1 minute you're laughing and it's goofy and it's stupid. The next minute, it's heartbreaking, and then it's heartwarming. So that balancing act, the way that Waititi does it, it feels effortless and everything sort of gels. Scarlett Johansson is terrific as Jojo's mother. She is strong, caring, and zany in a way that Scarlett hasn't been in any other role. And she is so warm that in lesser hands, this role could go awry, but it's some of her strongest work ever, and one of my favorite characters that she has ever played. And like I said, Roman Griffin Davis as Jojo hits all the right notes, and he makes you just root for him, and you're hoping that he will realize that being a Nazi is not the way to be, and that hating people for no good reason is terrible, and we're rooting for him to break free of his Nazi upbringing the whole time. And his dynamic with Elsa is just so sweet and innocent and perfect. The two of them are amazing, and I absolutely loved it. And it is just a movie that literally can go from sweet to ludicrous and back again, and it just seems to work. The score by Michael Giacchino is really nice, and it lives in some of those haunting moments, and there are moments that will have you shocked. And then it's a little bit more playful when stuff is going on, and bombastic as the movie starts to get a little bit more action-oriented as the war starts to come to a close. Waititi himself is having an absolute ball playing Hitler. He is just over-the-top ridiculous. His slightly off mustache is hilarious. The dynamic between him and Jojo is really fascinating. And Hitler's demeanor, which starts off calm, cool, and Jojo idolizes him, starts to change as Jojo himself starts to feel differently about the way that he's been brought up. And as he starts to idolize Hitler less, Hitler's tone starts to get more intense. And their final scene, it's got a great moment that will make audiences want to stand up and cheer. I love the themes of this movie, that people can change. Moving forward is the best way. Our differences are not differences. There is more commonality between people than there is differences. Blindly hating anyone, or even hating in general, is not the way to a happy life. The quote they use at the end of the movie is beautiful. And I mentioned that the score was great, but also brilliant pop music choices that are thrown in. They're anachronistic, but they work so well. The juxtaposition of Nazi fanaticism with another fanatic craze from a time during the opening credits was a stroke of genius. Absolutely loved that music choice. And the final music choice, after a very touching moment between JoJo and Elsa, was absolutely perfect. Maybe it's a little bit on the nose, but I loved it. Perfect song choice to send us out. And in a moment in history now where hatred and blind hatred seems to be thriving more than ever, a movie like this that can remind us about the good in humanity, warn us about the mistakes of the past, and put a smile on your face and make you feel good to be alive, even while showing the horrors of war and remembering the tragic events that this does depict, it's still a life-affirming experience. Taika Waititi has made my favorite movie of the year. It may not be for everyone, but I absolutely love it. Are you guys looking forward to JoJo Rabbit? Hit the comments. Let me know if you're going to check this out, or if the premise has got you checked out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, never feed your mogwai after midnight.